Okay, welcome to web233. This is online JavaScript Fall 2020. Each week I will put together a podcast like this. There was one already out there for last time I taught this, so if you already watched that, pretty much the same content we're going to go over tonight, except there will be some date changes and things of that nature. So let's go and get started. At the top of the course is my Google number. You can call or text anytime for questions. RBC email. Recommend following me on all social platforms. Online office hours, Monday and Thursday at these times. Click on this link here to connect. It's just a chat module. If you want to set up an online office video chat, click on this link to set up a schedule for that. Online textbook. We will be using online textbook this semester for like I do for most of my programming courses. A lot of programming courses now use online text. The benefit of online text is they're constantly being updated. They generally don't cost anything, and that's a great resource for developers. So I'll be using a free online text this semester called Eloquent JavaScript, a modern introduction to programming. Make sure and bookmark this. If you prefer paper or want text, paper text as a supplement, you can click on this link here, which should take you to the Amazon page for the same book. Pay a little bit money for that. Otherwise, you can click on this link, which is the online version that walks you through all of the components of the book, which is nice. And one of the features of the book I really like is the fact that as you're reading the text, and I'll scroll down here to show you, there is built-in compilers throughout. Like here, I'll give an example here that it's compiling and I can run it and it compiles it within the browser. That's something you can't get in a paperback textbook. So there is benefits to the online textbook. So make sure and bookmark that. One nice reason is computer, leveraging the power of the computer, we seek to learn to program. The programming examples in the text are live, meaning they can be executed as well as read, unlike a paperback book. So you can see what you code as you're examining will do when a computer runs that code that you're reading about. In addition to writing examples, you can edit the examples, make changes right there in the text web page. Then you can execute the change program and see what changes cause to happen when code is ran by a computer. So bookmark that. JavaScript editors, recommend Chrome. We'll be using Chrome quite a bit throughout the semester. Chrome has a nice built-in JavaScript editor that we'll go over as the semester goes on. Plunker, we'll be using Plunker, which is an online IDE for multiple languages. We'll be using it for JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Before you register for Plunker, though, I need you to register for the free github.com account using a non-RVC email like Gmail. Then register to Plunker using your GitHub login. Other nice JavaScript compilers, one of these we'll be using is Replit, is js.do and Replit. Both of those I recommend to bookmark as well. Weekly agenda. For most weeks, you'll be doing online reading through the online text, watching podcast, completing assignment with Plunker, and discussion. So this podcast I just recently created because they just updated Plunker. Walks you through how to set up a Plunk, how to run a Plunk, and how to upload it, how to get a URL from a Plunker, and submit it as for your assignments. We'll be using Plunker quite a bit for that. Other helps for JavaScript, tips and tricks. W3 Schools has some nice tips and trick page here. General JavaScript helps to another W3 Schools and a W3 resource. Both of these are great bookmarks for your JavaScript knowledge. Course success, setting up and creating a plunker. This page here, by the way, should go to the same page I just created the new podcast for. Second course success tip is completing your programming assignments. Before you do any programming assignments, make sure and read any assigned reading that I give you. Most are going to be from the online text, but there might be some other resources I give you. Make sure and do whatever reading and examples I give you before you attempt discussion or programming assignment. The first question I'll ask you if you have a question about a programming assignment is have you done your reading and followed the examples within the reading that I've given you? If you haven't, you need to do that first. Watch a podcast after step 1 that I create for each week's assignment, because I usually give an overview of the content in the podcast along with a working example, as well as an example of the solution each and every week. If a solution is available, you'll download and run the programming solution so you can see the results. You should also carve out at least 5 or 6 hours of time each week for programming assignment. If you get stuck on something in programming assignment, read the assigned reading, watch a podcast again, take a short break, start back to coding again. You might play a game, walk around, watch a movie, whatever it is to make you less just kind of chill out a little bit. Then, if you still need help, definitely contact me. Attach the source code, what issues you're having. Recommended to do some screenshots or maybe do a screencast of your problem. Compress your project, send it to me in an email. Tell me what's going on, and I will reply as soon as I see it. So that's the getting started portion. Now we're going into week 1. This link here on week 1 podcast is going to be replaced with what you're watching now. About me, you're going to go over and post about yourself, which most of you already done already, and then reply to at least 2 other people. This way you get to kind of know each other within the course. Replit, in this assignment, you're just signing up to Replit, which is the online IDE. After you successfully sign to Replit, there is a classroom I've created for Replit that has built-in assignments. You're not going to do the assignments this week. You're just going to join the class. So I'll show you what it looks like here. And this is the assignments that we're going to be doing starting week 2, week 3, week 4, 7, and 11. We're going to be using Replit. And just to show you, I'll jump ahead a little bit and show you like week 2, what it looks like. Here on the left is the notes or comments that you're going to be doing, and you're going to fulfill the notes and comments. Down at the bottom left is the actual browser compiler, native JavaScript compiler. Top right is the exercise. So in this one, you're completing an exercise. Once you're completed, by following these comments and doing what it says to do, you will click the run button. The run button will run the code. When you're complete, you'll hit submit, and then I will get an email. This is, if you highlight this link and go to that page, it should give you the resource JS file for that. So I'll just give you an example here. I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to start a new Replit so I won't mess this one up. So when you start a new Replit, I'll show you here the interface. On the upper right corner, when I hit the plus symbol, notice all the different languages you can compile in Replit. Tons of languages. We're going to be just using the JavaScript languages. There's tons of ones that you can definitely do. It has a default name it gives it. So if you're just playing around, you can just leave. I always just leave the default name and name it later. But for this example here, I'll go and do web233 demo, create replit. And now it's created the index.htjs. I'll paste the code I got earlier, get rid of the numbers. I don't need these that were commented, gathered when I did it. All right, here we go. So again, I'm jumping ahead, but just kind of showing you because many of you have not seen online compilers before. And so here's the JS code. I'll run it, and it compiles it here on the right side. It says kicks out my ID, kicks out the birth year plus 10. And then it says how old are you, and I'll go ahead and put in there my age, and that kicks out my age. So again, this is just an online compiler. It's really nice. What's great about it is once you create a code demo, you can share this code demo just by giving it to someone to demo it or to show it, and they can play with it. You'll see here on the little corner here of the demo, it'll create a new tab. So that website or that code, I'll go ahead and go into incognito to pretend I'm saying it to somebody. It's not logged in. All right, so it says here's all the code or the output of the code I just ran. But you'll notice you don't see any code. It just gives the output. But notice it says hit Control C anytime to enter REPL. So if I do Control C, it's going to enter in the Replit account. Just entered it. Run it again. Oh, it's because I'm in the incognito. Doesn't like that. So anyway, that's the link that basically you can click on to share to give to anybody, which is nice. And we'll be using Replit quite a bit. So there's a little demo on Replit. So for the Replit assignment for week 1 this week, you're just going to sign up to Replit, join the class, and then just say done when you're finished. Week 1 discussion and exercise. What is JavaScript? Read this intro. Read the 2 PDFs that I put together on JavaScript. Log into Plunker. View and learn about JavaScript on this page. You'll read the directions from the comments. It says here the comments start with the 2 forward slashes. On HTML, comments start with this here, lesser than, exclamation point, dash, dash. So on this one here on the view and learn, you're basically going to load it. It automatically runs the program. So you just thank you, Chuck Conkle, email, there's my email, age 49. My favorite color is green. All right. So it kicks all this out. They did update Plunker, which is nice. If you want to see the hit F12 key on your keyboard, it'll show the Chrome developer built into Plunker. So I just clicked on mine. You'll notice my developer down here at the bottom, and you'll want to click on the console. Console will show you the output, the same as it's showing it in the screen in Plunker. You'll notice also when it gets through running it, it runs every line of code line by line as it's compiled in JavaScript, which is pretty cool. Again, that's the JavaScript or the console is the one you want to hang out in. We'll talk more about that later. I'll get out of that to show you. All right. And again, that's important. Why you use Chrome is because Plunker uses Chrome. And the nature of Plunker, by the way, when you create a Plunker page yourself, which you'll be doing this semester, is when you create a Plunker, it creates an index.html for you, a JS file, and a CSS file. So these three are going to be created for you, and then you have to go in and flesh them out. Okay. So there's my HTML page. It's calling the JS file here on this line. And here's my JS file that's being called. And so you're basically going to be reading the comments in my JS file, which you're going to be going in and, it says here to run the button, hit the run button above, and the run button here for the page is going to be constantly running on this one, on the new version. Anytime a change is made, it's already going all the time. So an example here, if I change, my new age is now, you'll change it to because the first thing it has you do here is starting with line 10, we'll use console.log and example code to indicate what you're going to see as a result of evaluating something. Notice line number to right of the console.log output. And then we go into the different types of coding in JavaScript. Values, types, and operators. Concatenates it, glues it together. And so in order for us to start changing code in here, first thing I have you do is change your name, my name to your name. So Chuck Conkle to your name. We'll say it's John Smith. Now you'll notice as I start typing, it automatically starts running it. And so what I can do here is I can stop the running of the code by closing that. And I'm going to go in here and click on that link again. There it is. Okay, cancel, okay again. And I want to stop the running of the code here. Where it says refresh or preview automatically, I'm going to uncheck that. That way it doesn't automatically run. I can opt to manually click this now when the change is made. So let me show you what I'm talking about. On Smith, you'll notice it's not popping up now. Now when I click this and run it, now John Smith is in there. Okay. My email's fine. I'll leave that like that. I'll change my age to 53. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and preview. John Smith, there's my email, 53. I just changed it. Yes, there we go. Okay. So the run button basically in the console, instead of doing the console run, all you've got to do is go in here to the gear, uncheck preview, refresh preview. That way it'll stop compiling as you're making changes. You just have to remember when you uncheck this, you're going to have to click this manually to preview any changes, output changes that you make in your code. So you'll go through comment by comment, line 18 or line 17, you'll change your check uncle to your name. Line 19, change my email to your email. Line 21, change my age 49 to your age. Put these back the way they were, because if I don't, it'll be like I just changed them. It's here on line 22. You'll find when you do your reading is it's declaring a variable for age. Line 20 is a variable for email, and 18 is a variable for full name. You'll notice in JavaScript, it is declaring the type from the declaration to the right of the equal sign. If I hover over email, you'll notice, or full name, it's string. Email, string. Age, number. And I've not declared it as any type. It's a declaration, empty declaration. And it's going to be declared from whatever's the right of the preprocessor directive, which is the equal sign. Line 24 concatenates everything together in a nice little string with a variable personal HTML. And it concatenates it versus thank you, comma, space, and quote plus. The plus symbol is what concatenates strings and variables. And concatenate means taking the combination of strings and variables, putting it together and to output correctly. You'll notice there's a little space here between the comma and end, quote. There's my first variable, full name. And then I put a BR tag, which is a break tag in HTML. Email is. So this first line, thank you, full name, is this right here. Thank you, John Smith. Second line, BR tag. Boom, it wraps it to the next line. Email is. Email. Third line, after BR tag, age, colon, age, years old. Then last on line 27 is person format. Thanks whoever, whatever name is in there. In this case, it's Chuck Conkle. Your favorite color is green, right? And you'll notice here on line 27, I changed it up a little bit. Instead of using the BR tag, using the /n, which is a new line tag. And you'll notice on 31, this is where it's going to go into the console.log. And console.log will only show up if you do the F12 key on your Chrome browser. So I'll do the Chrome browser. I will clear everything right now and show you when it's compiled what happens. So I'm going to go and do the preview. Okay. Green. And you'll see here on the console, on the thank you. See where it says thank you, Chuck Conkle, email, 49 years. Chuck Conkle, your favorite name, your favorite color is green. All those are going to be compiling on the console.log. This first console.log on line 31 is right here. And you know it is because you go all the way to the right. See where it says script.js 31? It's coming from line 31. The next console.log is 37, which is the next one. 37 is display color, which is full name. Your favorite color is color. If you were to click on these, it'll actually take you right to the line in the JavaScript. And again, only Chrome web browser is going to do that. Okay. So console.log is being kicked out here at the bottom. On the right is being kicked out on HTML, the HTML page, which I'll show you in a second. If we go to the alerts, in JavaScript alerts, you'll find out when you're reading this week is popping up whatever you put in the parentheses. So we have person format, display color. Person format is this right here. Thank you. Full name, email is email, age is age, years old. It also does display color, which is this right. Full name, your favorite color is color. So I'll run it again so we can see it. So what's your favorite color? That's the coming up here with the person format. Actually, it's going back to this one right here. Let me go all the way through the beginning. It's just more information down at the bottom. The prompt here on line 34 is where the user is prompted for what is your favorite color. All right, so we'll run it again. Green. Now, then thank you, Chuck Conkle, email. This right here is coming from not line 34. That's the prompt that we had to enter in color. Console log displays it here, remember, on line 37. Then line 40, person format, where it says thank you, full name, email, and age. Person format is going to be the first one here. This is an alert. Second alert is display color. Full name, your favorite color is color. Chuck Conkle, your favorite color is green. That's coming from this on line 41. Now, on line 44 and 45 is where we're going to actually write it into the HTML. We're going to push it into the HTML, and you'll learn more about that as the semester goes on. But the power of JavaScript is you can modify HTML on the fly. And so it's taking the code that we just put in and putting in a tag, I'll show you in a second, called from.js and color. From.js is putting in personal HTML, which is the thank you. And then color tag is putting display color, which is the full name. Your favorite color is. Let me show you in the HTML where it's doing that. Okay, so you'll see these line 12 and 13, these P tags, paragraph tags. Both of them have IDs. The first ID is from.js, the second ID is color. You can name them whatever you want to put them in there. You just have to remember whatever you name it needs to make sense to what it is normally you're using it for. For this example, it's just an example here. So from.js and color is going to be used here in the JS file to display in HTML whatever we want to push to it from JavaScript. Voila, this code right here. The hello from Plunker, I believe, is just an H1 tag I have in line 10. Line 12 and 13 is what puts here. Line 10 is what puts on the hello. Going on down further. The rest of these just talk about different mathematical equations that can be kicked out in console.log and using JavaScript. And so it has in here the negation, -8, -10, 10 minus 2, negation is -8. And then next one, getting type of 4.5. It's a number. And you'll see at the right of this console in developer for Chrome, it gives you line by line where this is coming from. So if we look at the first one, which is 47, the -8, boom, there's 47. Okay. Make this screen a little bit smaller. So you'll just go through and see the examples here. You'll notice the examples here are not showed up on the right because I'm not putting them in the display at HTML. I'm only using the console.log. And for developers of JavaScript, console.log is used when we first start developing just to see the output of something without going in and trying to format and make things look nice on HTML. We're just wanting to get the results that we need, okay? And so From line 47 down, it just shows you multiple examples of output calculations in JavaScript. So, like how to get a type, a number, a string, Boolean, if something's true or false. Can you compare strings? Yes, you can. Only one value in JavaScript can be equal to itself, and that is nan, not a number. And it goes over the two ampersand operators, what it's all about when you're comparing things. So go through and read all those and look at the outputs in the console.log. That's what you're doing for that little intro thing. Viewing and creating your very first JavaScript app. You'll click on this, which is another plunker that's already been built. Which if you get one of these that does not work ever because they just updated plunker, I believe you just got to put plunk in there. There you go. I'll fix that link right now. They just updated plunker. So if you do see something like that, you'll notice I just put /plunk/ and that fixed it. So let me fix it now. When they updated plunker, they just made some modifications that kind of messed some stuff up, maybe. There we go. So I fixed that. Let me make sure that's fixed there. There we go. So this is your first plunker. It says, hello, RVC students. Click to run your first JavaScript program. Hello from your first program. Enter in your full name. Welcome, Chuck Conkle, to web233. Boom. You'll also notice in here that you can click edit. And when you click edit, here's where you can go to the JS file and make the changes if you want to play with of this program, to play around with it. Since it's my program, you can run it and it's just not going to save it. You can fork it. What you'll learn how to do as the semester goes on, if you fork something, it forks it to your account, all right, which you can definitely do. And then you can play with the code in here if you want to. And the best way to learn code, by the way, is changing it and seeing what it does, okay? So you can recommend you go in here and changing some text here in the alert, changing anything you want to in here. You got to be careful a little bit on what you change, but for the most part, you can change any. If you mess up, just do Control Z to backspace, or go back to the original link and copy and paste the original. But this is just showing you your very first kind of JavaScript app. And then joining Web233 on Replit, you already did that. That just shows you what the class looks like. It's nothing real major. It just shows you the classroom for that, which is I think 8507 or something like that. And that's actually the invite, which you've already been invited. You'll only see that course available. I do recommend bookmarking our GitHub page, which is for the course, which gives you all the examples throughout the semester, because you're basically going to be building. Once we get through the basics of JavaScript, was the first, I think, 4 weeks. Starting week 5, you'll be creating a shopping list, and I'll be teaching you how to do JavaScript by doing a simple shopping list app. And so it's a lot of fun. At the end, you get to morph it to your own. And so it's a really fun project. And here's what the end project looks like. Here's one done in Kurt Dunmeyer from the JavaScript class. And here's what the shopping looks like, where you can add in, remove, list, add in eggs, whatever. And so you'll be doing that. You can click share. It'll create a bit.ly account, bit.ly link, which copies it to your clipboard, and then you click OK. And now you can paste that and share it with anybody, and they can have your shopping list you just created. So I'll get rid of all this stuff. I can do like, welcome fall 2020 students. Hit share, hit OK. And now if I was to share that link, I just paste in the URL. Everybody would get that list. All right, so you'll be morphing it to your own flavor by the end of the semester. That Replit code. So make sure to bookmark the GitHub page, and then the course text, if you haven't already done so, bookmark that. So that's week 1. Do the reading for chapter 1 and chapter 2 on values, types, operators, and program structure. These are direct links to the book that's online, and just remember the book online has built-in compiler that will, and when it gets to code examples, you just click on the line, go over to the ellipsis on the right side, the hamburger icon, and run the code, and it'll run it for you here in your compiler. And I'll go to this next one here. That's just strings. We'll go to one that's actually doing some compiling here. Here we go. So it's console.log. There we go. Type of, number, type of, string. All right. If I change this X, you can change on the fly too. If I change this to 9, run it again, and notice that you can compile it within the actual text. So avail yourself to that, both of those. Week 1 reading. Your very first assignment is basically to create a plunker for week 1. Go through the podcast. It shows you how to do it. Once you create a week 1 plunker, you're going to put in the JS file only, your information here, and I'm going to change this to the correct fall 2020 while I'm in here. There we go. And you'll put this at the top of your JS file, this comments, which is telling me who you are and what date and assignment number. Assignment number here is going to be 1. You'll create a function to have the user declare a variable for full name, for year of birth, for how old they are. Use mat to come up with a variable value for how old they are by using 2020, and variable for old. So you'll do a variable value for old by using 2020, and then variable for old. So input full name, prompt, birth prompt, an alert to display the full name and how old the person is by taking the year 2020, subtracting by year of birth. So an example would be, hello, Chuck Conkle, you are 52 years old, which I just turned 53. Once you're finished, you'll go to My Plunks and click on the detail icon. It'll give you a URL at the top. You'll copy that. And again, if you follow the directions on creating and submitting a plunker, it walks you through that very quickly in a little podcast I created recently. Down at the bottom, each one of your assignments, for the most part, will have a link to the submitting assignments and course success. So I'll click on that. I'll only do it in week 1 here. I already went over this earlier, going over the plunker, what to do to complete assignment, and then the programming examples. I'll click on that. Takes you to week 1 and the programming example for week 1, where you enter in your full name, your year of birth. Hello, Chuck, you are 50 years old. And that one is using probably 2017, yeah. So it's not using the newest date. So I can update that. So let's see, we're going to do what? 8/17/2020. And we'll change this one. That's what you'll be doing on yours, by the way. Fall 2020. And I'll put in here my full name, assignment number 1. And I will put it in here. It said 2017. I'm going to put 2020. Save it. There we go. Now let's preview it again. Okay, enter full name, Chuck Conkle. Year of birth, 1967. There we go. You are 53 years old. Cool. So that example should give you the latest and greatest. I will run it one more time. And again, this is a fully working example. So if you get stuck, you can look at the example. That's what it's there for. Remember, look at the example on Plunker. You just hit the edit button, and it takes you right to the code. This week, we're not messing with the HTML, except believe you might be putting week 1 in the body, but you're mainly going to be messing with the JS file, the script.js. So avail yourself to that. Go back to the assignment here. So make sure when you create the Plunker, only mess with the really only required to do is to manipulate the JS file, which is the commenting of your information at the top, declaring the functions and variables below that. And if you do your reading and follow the course example and even look at the example I've given you that I just showed you, that you'll have no problem submitting it and doing fine. Week 1 discussion was your first expression of JavaScript. It's very straightforward, as this student says, and I totally agree. It's pretty easy to use. I think you'll enjoy it. I like using it to do code on the fly for examples. I am a full-time programmer through the day. I've been programming for over 30 years, and so I do this all the time. Have a lot of fun programming, and hope you do too this semester, and not only learn how to program, but I like you to have fun, and so enjoy it. Is it hard at times? Definitely. Anything that's good in life is hard to do that you enjoy. That's fulfilling, and so it is hard. I'm not saying it's not hard, but if you do the work, put the work in, which I know you will, you'll do great, and you'll really enjoy Java. JavaScript's a fun language. I like a lot of languages, but JavaScript is one of my best languages to teach, and it's just a lot of fun to use. And so anyway, that's my intro to week 1 and the week 1 overview and getting started in week 1 overview. So do make sure you go over the get started, go over the week 1. That's what we're doing this week. And I will try to have the podcast for each week posted by end of Monday night of each week. At the top of the course, you will be getting an announcement of that week, but I will try to have the podcast posted and all the weeks open, by the way, starting next week. The only thing that will not be updated when I open everything up will be the weekly podcast. I like to do those fresh each week, even though there are some podcasts I use throughout the semester that I leave in there. As far as the announcement podcast like I just did tonight to get you started, I believe it's important to redo those each and every semester. So let's have a great semester. I just want to make one reminder to you as far as for the first week only, it's in the announcements, I believe I put it in there. Connection time. This Wednesday and Thursday evening, week 1 only. Doing it for all my students to connect at the same time, regardless of what courses they're taking of mine, where I will introduce myself, have you introduce yourself, see how you're doing, things of that nature. Wednesday and Thursday, 6 to 6:30. You'll click on this link here on how to connect. And let's have a great semester.